Record. Oh, good. And now let's share. Good. Good. All right. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. So we're continuing what we began a few days ago, and it's a speech that the Lubavitcher Rebbe gave on Simchat Torah, Tavshin Nun Beit, which this is just months before he had a a stroke, which rendered him unable to speak. And then exactly a year later, he had a second stroke. And then shortly thereafter was Gimel Tammuz, where the Rebbe, arguably you could say he passed away. He physically he wasn't in the world. Whatever works by tzaddikim, but that's whatever happened. So that was Gimel Tammuz. So in other words, the Rebbe was just speaking months before he was unable to give messages. So this is one of his last messages. And interestingly enough, this was a message that was given. His synagogue, which is really big, was packed with people, and it's the happiest time of the year. And here the Rebbe gave a speech. So yeah, obviously he didn't give the speech with a microphone. He gave a speech, so everyone was listening. So in the speech, what does the Rebbe say? The Rebbe says that now we're in Simchat Torah. In Simchat Torah, we make what's called hakafas. We take the Sefer Torah and we dance around in a circle around the bima. But before we dance around, we say 17 sentences from the Torah. And all these 17 sentences hint at Moshiach, which the main thing of Moshiach is to reveal God in the world. Wait a second. 1 second. Almost forgot. 1 second. Let us give charity. Start the day off with charity, and you should continue the rest of the day also giving charity with your good thought, a good word, a good deed, helping people, giving money to people that need it, etc. So here we go. Charity. Charity will bring the redemption. Don't be selfish. Give a good thought, give a good word, give a hug, give a charity, give something positive to everyone around you. Make the world a better place. Make the world a better place. That's why we're here, to make the world a better place. Don't think about yourself so much, think about others. Okay. So the Rebbe said that's the idea of Mashiach. What's the idea of Mashiach? Mashiach is going to be a person that he is going to, as the first of these 17 sentences says, he will make us feel, the whole world feel the truth, that God is creating everybody. And that you have been shown to know that God is the creator. There's nothing except for him. In this case, Elohim means the creator. God is the creator, and there's nothing except for him. And everything in the world comes from God. Which that sort of, on one hand, takes God out of the realm of being very high and religious and holy. And he's in every little detail in the world, every stone, every baseball game, every human being, every moment, every breath I take, every, the wind that blows, the trees, everything that happens, even the bad people, everything in the world is being created by God all the time and being directed by God. Which that makes everything very confusing. That's not really godly. What type of a God is that? I mean, it's creating everything. God is supposed to be godly. It's supposed to be a religious figure. He's supposed to be up in the, some citadel or something in the upper realms or something, on a mountain or somewhere. And they're saying God is everywhere. None of that isn't that's like pantheism or something. That pantheism means everything. So pantheism means everything is God. So, well, everything is God, but it doesn't mean you should worship everything. That's why God gave the Torah. God gave the Torah to tell us what exactly this means, that God is creating the whole world and everything is godly. But you can't worship everything. It's a prohibition to do idolatry. So if God is everywhere, why not? Why can't I worship a tree? I mean, God is creating the tree. So that's the idea of the Torah. So the Torah, when did God reveal his oneness to the whole world? At the Torah, when God gave the Torah. That's the fourth of the 10 commandments. God created the heavens and the earth right? And on Shabbos he rested, but God created the heavens and the earth. What did he create it from? From nothing. So it means the world is made from nothing. So how does the world still exist? A big miracle. We've said this probably 10,000 times, but that's the whole point. And I could say it 20,000 times, and I still would not feel it. I mean, I can say it, it's easy to say, but to actually feel this. So that's the idea of happiness. That's the happiness of the Torah. When God gave the Torah, he revealed this in Mount Sinai, and this revelation is still in the Torah right now when we learn it, when we have it. And the Torah is what's going to bring world peace, and everyone will feel that it's no contradiction that God is creating even the most mundane, stupid things in the world constantly, and nevertheless that God is also creating the angels, and God is above all the other whatever gods that all the other religions go crazy about and fight big battles for and jump off of mountains or whatever they do. So that's the first of the thing I mentioned. The first of the 17 sentences, and the last one is Mitzion Torah, from Zion, which means the Jewish people, or it means the land of Israel. It means several things. Will come out Torah, and the word of God will come from Jerusalem. So that comes out to the idea of knowing God in everything you do, and especially teaching children, especially children, how tremendously important, how essential, and if foundational is teaching children. The children should receive the proper education. Children should be educated to know that there is a God, and God loves them, and God creates them, and God cares about them, and that God wants them to be independent, and he wants them to be productive, and he wants them to be happy, and to use all their potential to be happy and to be normal and to sing and to dance and to do all the things that normal people do. Happy people, all the things that happy people do. Nowadays, being normal means to be miserable, I think. All the things that a healthy person does, that he's happy and he can overcome difficulties and he can change the world and improve the whole entire creation. That's what the essence of every person is, every single person. And the more people, the better. The more people, the better. If God can create every amoeba or every whatever, so he can create more people. So how many people are there in the world? 8 billion? Not enough. Should be 16 billion. 16 billion? Not enough. There should be 32 billion. There's enough place in the world for 100 billion, for 1 trillion people in the world. And those people who say they aren't is because they just don't have these ideas in their mind that God is it's God's world. It's not our world. It's not our world. And God wants there to be people, and God wants there to be, say, happy people in the world. But you have to be educated. That's the thing of education. And education means that you're educated to do what it says in the Torah, that the Torah becomes your guide. The Torah becomes your guide. So basically, if you see confusion in the world, it comes from people who don't believe that the Torah is the guide. They believe they've made up their own books, or they say the Torah is not existent anymore, or whatever it is. And usually their books, if they're successful, usually they take basic elements from the Torah. Or they take from common sense, also could be. But common sense can really mislead us. We just saw the terrible war with the communists, right? The communists on the basis of common sense, and they killed 150 million people. That's what it says. The Mao Zedong and everything. And there's still people clamoring for communism because it's empty. People don't have the Torah, so everything is empty. And emptiness, anything can get in. It's like an open wound, all sorts of diseases and weird stuff can get in. Okay, the Indian, especially the special understruck, the special emphasis in the children, teaching children of Beis Rabbah, the children that learn the Torah from our generation, which are called mit the name Tzvaot Hashem. They're called the name of the armies of God. Now the Rebbe did a very interesting thing. Let's go. Where's my pointer over here? Give me a second. 1 minute. 1 minute. Okay, the Rebbe did a very interesting thing, and he said that children want to have a goal. And so he made a thing called the armies of God. And the armies of God, he said, those are going to be children. And the children, who's the enemy? The enemy is ignorance. The enemy is world ignorance. The enemy is complacency. And a soldier is a person that he's even willing to risk his very being, his very life for the goal. And here the children have this thing of, okay, now the Rebbe doesn't send everybody out, the children out, to do dangerous things or whatever. But what the Rebbe does do is he's encouraging the children that they should be centered on their goal. And their goal is only one, and that is to fix the world up, to fill the world with happiness and the awareness of the Creator. And that's the idea of Moshiach, to bring Moshiach. So they're called the armies of God. There's a Tziva'ot Hashem. It says, where did they get this from? It says, when the Jews went out of Egypt, so it says that God took them all out, al tzivotam, that God took them out on their hosts, and the word hosts also means armies. So going out of Egypt, they were all called, all the Jews were called the armies of God. They're in the whole special thing of this army, the children, teaching the children, putting them the armies of God. The name Tziva'ot Hashem, the name, the armies of God, the army of God, that's the children. But this indicates, stresses, as the kinder, that the children are ein ganzen, totally, übergegeben, devoted, und bittul, and unified to God. God is the big commander, but du must like a soldat, like a soldier, zu sein general, to a general. Und bis lashon hakasuv, like it says in B'Yetzias Mitzrayim, Hotzi Hashem, that God took the Jewish people out of Egypt, al tzivotam, on their hosts or on their armies. In other words, all of the Jewish people are called soldiers. Jewish people are called the sons of God. Jewish people are called the wife of God. They're called the sister of God, achoti kala, they're sister of God. And the Jewish people are called, and the Jewish people are called the chosen ones of God. But the Jewish people are also called the armies of God. And each one of these names indicates a different relationship, a different potential, which is inside of every Jew in their connection to God. And that, for instance, that they're called the sons of God, B'ni Bechor Yisrael. That's referring to God's infinite love for the Jews and love of the Jews for God. Infinite, you can't take it away. A son can't stop being a son. That what we're called the wife of God, God's wife, Bati Lagani, Achoti Kala, God's wife. Oh, shalom. Wife of God. This shows on a different type of a love, a more intimate type of love. How do you say, an emotional type of love of God, like fire, and etc., etc. These are different types of love and awe, but the idea that the Jewish people are a soldier, it's different than being a servant. The Jewish people are also called servants of God, avadai. They're called my servants. So up to now, you've been the servants of Paro. Now you're going to be my servants. A servant. A servant doesn't risk his life. He's not totally devoted to his master. A soldier is, yes, devoted. He's devoted with his whole being. And that's what it means that he's devoted with his whole being. Now, again, we're not saying the Rebbe did not do things that in any way endangered the children's lives or told the children to endanger somebody else's life. But what he is saying, and in fact, that's not our weapon. Our weapon is education. Our weapon is light. Educating people, being a good example, helping others. That spreads good and godliness in the world. That's what prepares the world for Mashiach, but you have to be willing to do it like a soldier. A soldier does things sometimes against his will. He does things, he does some things which are seemingly against the how do you say, peer pressure. And he doesn't care. He's only interested in doing what the commander wants. This is when God took the Jews out of Egypt, they were all called the armies of God. Noch hecher, even higher than any limitation from a regular army. These are the armies of God. Therefore, it's understood as in the Yiddish kinder, that in the Jewish children, Ingelech und Mädlech, boys and girls, from unser Dor, from our generation, is noch mehr, is even more recognized, begili, a revealed way, wie des Zeinen Mashiach, that it says, Alti Guba Mashiach, that the children, they're called the anointed ones. Anointed ones. Mashiach, from them, Eibishter, they are anointed from God alone. And we see that all over the world, there's all these Chabad houses. If you ever go to the Chabad houses, so, there's other groups that have also tried to make their own whatever houses, and it doesn't work. The reason it doesn't work is not because of a lack of funds or a lack of, the Chabad houses, they don't essentially have any funding. They have to go and make their own funding. Each Chabad house is independent. They have to find their own donors or whatever, and they're allowed to take a wage also. But that's not the point. The point is motivation. What motivates a people in the Chabad houses? Like there's about 2,000, something like that, Chabad houses all over the world. What motivates these people? So the answer is what motivates them is self-sacrifice, not caring about themselves. They don't care about themselves. They care only about, or let's put it this way, they care about themselves secondly. The first and main and primary concern is to spread Judaism, that the Jews should know what a Jew is. And that means sometimes not even talking about Judaism, just giving them a good meal, kosher meal, a place where they can sit, which is a Jewish environment, where there's a room, where there's a Sefer Torah. But they're doing it at tremendous expense on their own. And their families, they go with families also, and their wives also. Right? Where did they get this crazy indoctrination that they're willing to do anything for another Jew? Where? Says the Rebbe, this is the idea, that the Rebbe made them into soldiers. And they're anointed by God, so to speak. I know all these words they've been, how do you say, defiled by other religions. But the other religions took these ideas and defiled them, but the ideas in themselves are true. Velcha Veren, which are the preparation and the preparation and the beginning of them Haskalas, the revelation of the real Mashiach from all the Yidden, from all the Jews, in a Geula Mitit Vashlema, in a total redemption. So in other words, the Jewish people, Maimonides says, the Jews must be constantly thinking about God, about Mashiach. Of course, you're supposed to be thinking about God, but if you don't have Mashiach, you think about God on your terms. You think about God what you understand God is. And that's what we see all these other weird religions in the world, which Mashiach is going to come and he's going to eliminate all of them. No one's going to want all these other religions in the world. Everyone will just see that they've been fooled. They're not worshiping their creator. The world will see. And Mashiach is going to be the person that he's going to explain and educate what really God is. And if you want a little taste of it, it's in the teachings of Chabad Hasidut. The main thing of Mashiach is going to reveal the creator in the world. That the creator and the creation are not really two separate things, that everything is being created all the time by God. But in order to do that, there has to be a certain degree of self-sacrifice, of giving away yourself. And giving away yourself, that's the essence of all these Chabad houses. All the other people, they want something for themselves, right? And the people in the Chabad houses, they're willing to give themselves totally away, right? And then after they've given themselves away, so they have to provide for their family. They have to provide a home. They have to worry about their children, education. Then they think about those. But that's the idea of a soldier. Like it says, like the days of going out of Egypt, when the Jews went out of Egypt, they were called the army of God. And it says in the future redemption, there's a prophecy from the Micha, from the prophecy. It says, like the days of going out of Egypt, I will show you miracles. Just like back then, Yatsu called Sivot Hashem, all of the armies of God went out of Egypt. Azoi will also be now that Sivot Hashem, the armies of God, for our generation will also go out from the present exile to a true redemption, complete and immediate, really. And Kolol, and this is, so the Rebbe has this vision of what's going to be in the world, which is exactly the vision of the Torah. That's exactly the vision that Maimonides says, the Rambam says is going to be. Namely, that the whole entire world is going to see and feel that up to now that they've been fooled and that people have been lulled into a slumber that they're not able to reveal their potential. that people are not happy to be alive. And Mashiach is going to make it that everyone is going to be happy. Everyone's potential will be revealed. And this is what's going to happen immediately. Call of them. Of course, God is going to do a lot of miracles. But the main miracle, it says, is that there's not going to be any more hatred or anger or wars anymore. That's pretty big. That's pretty good. The Kolel Miyuchad, especially the Yiddish kinder, especially the Jewish children, which are found here now, right in the synagogue of the Rebbe. The Rebbe makes the speech right in the right before Hakafat, before they're dancing on Simchat Torah. V'chazainen up gehandevet geweren b'shana shavra, which they were oif gehandevet. They were educated in the previous year, and b'shana shavra unazoi vet es zicher nimshach, and certainly it will continue to be in an orphan in a way as b'shas men gita cook. When you look off the children, how they've been educated, zet men Mashiach, we can see the Mashiach. So again, Mashiach is a person that his whole thing is to serve the creator, and the children become creators, not destroyers. But they create according to the standards of the Torah, which the Torah is God's will and God's wisdom, the creator's will and wisdom. And that makes people happy, and you can see, and it makes the children happy. And especially now when the children, they dance now with the hakafas of Shmini Atzeret and Simchat Torah. There's 2 days outside. The Rebbe, therefore, in order to zu Elin, to speed up even noch schneller, even faster, the redemption, sie soll kommen, all the children should come. 1 minute, here we go. All right, here we go. Where did I do that? Here we go. There it is, good. All the children should come, that the Mashiach should come as soon as possible, in to the degree that immediately. The Rebbe gave a speech, and he said that the third temple is supposed to come from heaven. Miktas Hashem konan yadecha. It's a Gemara also in Sukkah that the third temple is going to come from heaven. It's going to be already built. It's already there. Who knows where it is? I don't. I mean, if all the dead are going to rise up within their bodies, and a human body is much more complicated than a holy temple. It's just a building. So the holy temple, and there's going to be a lot of people that are going to come back from the dead. So there'll probably be a bigger mass, or way more than the holy temple. So how it's going to happen is obviously not in our hands. It's in the hands of God. But we have to do everything we can to make it fast. But the Rebbe said that from the time that the holy temple is not here, and it comes and is ready for work, could be 24 minutes. Therefore, there's a law that, I don't know if this law is actually in effect, but a Kohen, even nowadays, a Kohen, the Kohanim of the Holy Temple, the work in the Holy Temple, they're not allowed to drink wine, because a Kohen cannot serve in the Holy Temple if he is under the influence of wine, and it takes the bare minimum 24 minutes to remove the effect of wine. So in other words, the Holy Temple could come and say, okay, Kohanim, let's go. And the guy says, oh, come on, I just had a couple of kapag. I want to take another drink. And they'll stop drinking. I can't. Okay, give me 24 minutes. I can't give you 24 minutes. I can't do it. It's already 2 minutes have passed by. It's 22 minutes. You have to go to the Holy Temple, and you're going to be drunk. There's going to be 2 minutes of drunkenness, disqualified. So therefore, they say that a Kohen is not allowed to drink wine nowadays. That's what it says. I don't think that law is in effect, but the one who says the law is certainly a very valid opinion. So we see that the whole world can change like nothing. The whole world can change. And I think that it's pretty much, happening now. I don't know if you know it. I mean, I just what about an hour ago? Yeah. One hour ago, there were missiles here, not far from Kfar Chabad. We just had sirens and this. and the people ran to the bomb shelters. And so Lubavitcher Rebbe said that Israel is the safest place in the world, and the Kfar Chabad is the safest of the safe. That's what he said. So if it's already the safest place in the world, I don't know why you have to have safest of the safe, but nevertheless, safest place in the world. So I personally don't run to the bomb shelters. I go to a place where there's no windows because I'm worried about the windows breaking. People got hurt. But anyway, the fact is that that's not. I'm not trying to tell you that about what I did. 20,000 missiles have been shot into Israel since October the 7th. 20,000. 20,000. Huh? 20,000 missiles have been shot. Who have they been shot at? At innocent civilians, at normal people, at schools, with children, with kindergartens. They've just been shot indiscriminately to try to kill as many people as possible. And the whole world supports the shooters, not us. So we see the whole world is against us. And there's been an amazing minimum of casualties. I mean, one Jew being killed is, certainly too much. It's a whole world. But the fact is, in comparison to what could have been, the miracle is indescribable. It's just indescribable. I'm sure that any one of those missiles could easily, God forbid, have killed hundreds of people. And in fact, very, very few people have been hurt. I think that's like, 10, 20, 20,000 missiles. It's like, I think it's 27,000 missiles. Look it up, Google it. So we see that the world already is under the title that God is the boss over here. God is the boss. God is ruling the whole business. Okay, it could be a lot better. There's a lot of people dying unexplainably, and God will explain all this. But after all, the fact that people are alive at all is a miracle from God. So we have to appreciate what God is doing. But God is doing much more than just creating nature and just creating us and giving us health and things like that, which we also should thank God for. But he's protecting us. I'm telling you, 20,000 missiles just doesn't make any sense. If the Arabs would throw 20,000 rocks, it would do more danger if God was not protecting us. 20,000 missiles. Okay, so soon the Mashiach can come immediately. So therefore, we should say l'chaim. And also the teachers, malamdim, the teachers, the mechanchim, the teachers and the instructors and the principals of the schools from Tzivot Hashem, they should all gather together and sing together with the children. The song which is connected with Tzivot Hashem, like with the march, and Nigun, there's their own song. Their own song. I don't know what song it is, a march. Maybe it could be Napoleon's march. I don't know. Give me a second, I'll think. Un es darf doch sein, azl lekarta halach lenimusa. When you come to a city, you should go according to the customs of that city if they don't oppose the Torah. So that's what the customs of the place are. What should you do? So the Rebbe said, now everybody's in Crown Heights, and they're in the 770, and everybody here is making l'chaim, and you should make l'chaim. Everybody's dancing, you should dance. And it could be that the march that they sang, it says a march, could be that they sang, that it could be ay ya 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 ya. Yeah, could be ay ya 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 ya. No, maybe not. Maybe the march is 1 second. Ay ya 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 ya. Same beginning. Ay ya ya. Napoleon's march. Ay ya 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 ya. I don't really know which march they sang, to tell you the truth. Maybe I'll think about it to the end. In other words, everyone should sing together. I think maybe it's the Chayale Adonenu Morenu V'Rabbeinu Chayale Moshiach Tzidkeinu Yolichenu Karzar Tzenu whichever march they sang, he told everyone to sing together. This will help. Olam, this Messiah Zain in them will help in them, and certainly there will be the world. The children sing this, and certainly everyone else, all the participants that are here in the synagogue, will help them sing this song. Un es betrachten und es betrachten far zerer azechut, and this will be reckoned as a big merit to everyone. Vibal, because as durach di kinder, by means of the children, nimshach will be drawn down also the title from which the children are called Moshiach. The children are called the anointed one. It's a sentence that says, Al tigu b'Moshiach v'imbrei al tereyu. It's a sentence, I think it's in Psalms, right? The children are also called by the name of Moshiach, and it says, don't touch my anointed one. The rabbis say this is talking about the children. The children. And that's really the place where the big enemies of Judaism always tried to strike first, right? Especially like in communist China, it's communist Russia. In communist Russia, the first thing that they did, Stalin, these people, was that they closed down the places of learning. And the previous Rebbe, that was one of the previous Rebbe there, was there. He risked his life and the life of his pupils, and a lot of them were actually killed to spread teaching, to teach Torah, to teach children Torah. And they would make yeshivos, places of learning, 5 children at a time. You couldn't have more because they would catch them. And they would learn in basements and all sorts of weird places. They would learn Torah. And if they would catch them, they would kill the teacher and they would send the children to orphanages where they would be. And nevertheless, that's what they did. Almost all the older Chabadniks that live here in Kfar Chabad and other places, they participated in these schools. And that's what kept Judaism going in Russia. And therefore, men darnoch. That's why they're called the anointed ones, because bringing Mashiach requires a certain degree of self-sacrifice. And therefore, men darnoch, we take also from this we take the power, or if they're avoda, to serve God the whole rest of the year, not just right now. Like we said before, that's how we started the speech. The Rebbe started the speech that Simchas Torah should be drawn down through the whole entire year. We cannot. There's no way that we can estimate properly the power and the holiness of the Torah. I mean, the Torah is just another book. Ostensibly, it's another book in the library, and there's also it's another religious book. But we're saying no, that the Torah, first of all, it's the will and the wisdom of God. But not only that, learning the Torah brings a big blessing into the world, because the Torah is the will and the wisdom of God. You're bringing God, so to speak, revealing God in the world. God is revealed in the Torah. God is also revealed in the trees and in the sky, but it's nothing like the Torah. The Torah is the reason for creation. It's a deeper, that's why in the Holy of Holies was the Torah. The Torah determines what is holy and what's not holy. The Torah determines where God is revealed and where he's not revealed. And that's the idea of the Jewish people, to divide. The Jewish people, they're called holy. It's Am Kadosh. The land of Israel is called Eretz HaKodesh. It's called the Holy Land. But that's the big problem with all these, what they call secular movements that tried to redefine Judaism to be a not holy thing. Right? The Torah is not holy, and the Jewish people are not holy, and the land of Israel is not holy. And now they're being forced to say, okay, listen, the whole world, we see the whole world is against us. United Nations hates us, right? It doesn't make any sense. And they're supposed to be for righteousness and for justice and for this and that. And we see that it's not working. And the Israelis are being forced to, they tried all their arguments and they just don't work. Sometimes it's very embarrassing. I mean, it's very, very embarrassing. I see some of the spokesmen for Israel, these generals, they get up and they you can see that they're like looking over their shoulder. They're worried about what the world thinks. And we're not trying to kill children. We don't really want to win. We just want peace. And all we want is just peace from our neighbors. And they're attacking us. And please understand us. And everybody says, yes, you Jews are a bunch of thieves and murderers. And you've always been. So no, you don't understand me. I'm trying to be friends with you. It's just really something amazing. Just amazing. And they have non-Jewish people who have taken upon themselves the banner of speaking for Israel, not because that they love the Jews, just because of the incredible injustice and untruth, right? Lies that are just being perpetrated on all of mankind. And it's like hard for them to believe that anyone anyone would believe this. And they come out with the most, they're fiery spokesman for not for Israel. They're fiery spokesman for simple common sense. But the Jews, as soon as they try to leave God out of the picture, they even lose their common sense. They just lose it. Listen, how do we get into this whole business? Because the Israeli government gave away all this land, Gaza, because they wanted peace. And now they see there's no peace. They're still not leaving it alone, right? They said, well, maybe we have to give them maybe a little more. Then, anyway, says the Rebbe, the Torah is our power. The Torah is our identity. The Torah is our essence. The Torah is the only thing that's going to save the whole world. The Torah defines what is good and bad, what is godly and what is not. And especially the teachers and the principals of the schools, and especially by the shluchim, by the emissaries. Now, this was 30 years ago, and there were a lot less emissaries than there are now. But there's Chabad people, they take their whole families, and they move to these desolate places where there's no kosher, there's no mikveh, there's no anybody. There's just a bunch of Jews, a bunch of usually Israelis are in these places, right, in order to save them. And if I was it was, I don't know, I'll remember how long ago, 7 years ago, whatever, I took, and there was a big family of Chabadniks, and they were in this weird place in India, in the south of India. And my wife agreed that we would take over for them. She had to go and give birth. She had to give birth. She didn't want to give birth in India. So the whole family, at that time, they had like 4 children, something like that. She was giving birth to the 5th. I think now they have 7 children, 10 children. Anyway, so we took over. And it was this crazy place called Gokarna. It was blazing hot in the day. It was just a crazy place. But who were our guests all the time? We were there for the Tishrei, for the holiday. Who are our guests? Israelis. Only Israelis. Only Israelis get to this place, right? Non-religious Israelis, anti-religious Israelis. But they were happy to see there was a Chabad. They were in India, to draw from the culture, from the spirituality. The whole place is just terrible, right? It has no culture, no spirituality for Jews anyway. I mean, their culture it could be very beautiful, very wonderful, but it's not fitting for Jews. Jews can fit themselves anywhere. And that's who our customers were. All the people that came were Israelis. Israelis. And we were just there for a month, but these people, they're there for their whole lives. They just stay there for the whole lives. What in the world would they go there for? Says that's the idea of shlichus. They have, especially because to spread out Torah and Judaism and spreading out the well springs, Chassidut, outwards, which Chassidut explains what the world is going to be like when Mashiach comes. What does it mean that God revealed? What does that mean? And especially, what is God? And especially the service of shlichus to bring the Mashiach actually physically in the physical world. As Maimonides stresses so importantly, that we have any Jew that does not believe in Mashiach and await his arrival is denying the whole Torah. So says the Rama, including putting a special emphasis on the idea of education of the children, Jewish children, which are called Mashiachai, my anointed ones. So again, the Rebbe is saying this on Simchat Torah, the day of rejoicing with the Torah. The Torah is the essence of reality, and to be and it's the thing that makes you happy. When you feel that God wants you to be here, and he wants you to be in this world, and he empowers you to improve the world, that makes you happy. And we have to educate the children from the beginning that that's the real world. That's the world that they live in. It's God's world. It's not our world. Yiratzon may be God's will. As Yeder that every Jew and all the Jews, including all the Jewish children, should provident. They should they should do, enjoy, whatever, the hakafos on Simchas Torah, the dancing on Simchas Torah, together with God alone. Like it says, the rabbis, Ati the Kodesh Baruch Hu, that God will make a dance with the tzaddikim, a machol, with a dance with the tzaddikim, a big ring of dancing with the tzaddikim. Each and every person will show with his finger and say, Zekeli Palmu, say, Bayomahu Hine Elokeinu Zeh. This is my God. Every person will point with their finger. They'll say, this is God. This is God. What are they going to point at? Well, God is everywhere. How are they going to point at God? We'll see. I don't know how it's going to be, but it says it's going to be that way. Zek Hashem, this is Hashem Kivinala. We have waited for him. Negila, we will rejoice. V'nismacha, and we will be happy Bishuato in his salvation. And it also stresses Bishuato in his salvation, that God also will get saved, because God suffers when we suffer. God is suffering in exile along with the Jews. And God himself, when he releases the Jews, God himself will be redeemed. But take it miyad mamash immediately. I think if you remember, we learned a SIchot about that also. When it says Shav Hashem et Shavutcha. Remember, we learned that. Okay. Immediately, mamash, so the dancing on Simchat Torah should be filled with the feeling of any second now, God is going to be revealed in the world, and the world is going to be the best place, incredibly better than heaven, this physical world. Dancing with Moshiach now. Now let's have our Yom Yom, and then a story.